All right. Hello, everyone. It's been a very, very long time since you guys seen me, and it's been for a very, very good reason. Good reason. Um, for many, many years, I knew that I was anointed to do something powerful. I just never knew what that thing was and what it looked like or how I was going to get there. So, let's see, where do I begin? I remember when I first moved here to Chrisville and I was sitting here in isolation in the middle of the pandemic and I was wondering, why am I here in this spot? Why am I away from everything I ever knew? And what am I supposed to do with this? And immediately I had this overwhelming feeling that if I allow him to build me, then that peace and that joy that I'm looking for is going to come. I remember thinking I was going halfway crazy, but for some odd reason, I totally knew that this was the thing that was going to get me to the thing. So I remember sitting in here in tears, crying, and asking the Lord to please help me and guide me because I don't know what to do. I'm in this town with all these people I do not know, 3 hours away from everybody I ever knew. It was a blessing, but it also was a curse. I had time to get myself together, but at the same time, I didn't even know where to start. And so I stumbled across the Queen Esther Ministry through um, a sister from my home church, St. Maltese Baptist Church in District Heights. And I assumed it was a play, and I was just so excited to see something different. And when I did so, I hit it, and the link was to register for a ministry. Forgetting that I just now prayed for the Lord to just bring me something my way that would help me out, I remember being so critical, like, why do I got this? Why am I looking at this? What are they talking about? Like, is this about to play or what? Like, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I just need to look at something different, get my mind off of what I'm thinking right now. I'm too overwhelmed. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. But the more and more I calm down, I can overhear the Reverend speaking and saying things like, your cameras have to be on. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, oh my face is swollen from me crying all day long and, feeling so alone and not knowing which way to go. And I remember just going and just turning the camera on. I remember I had a whole bunch of flickering lights, flickering in the background. And I remember as soon as I turned my camera on, I can hear her saying, oh, the lights, the lights. And I was just like, oh, it's me, it's me. And I remember cutting the lights off, and immediately I had this overwhelming peace. And I didn't know then that it was teaching me, when I submit to the process, how He comes in and gives me the power to endure and, to have patience with myself, patience with everything else but myself. And so I remember sitting there, and immediately I said, you know what? Forget it. I might as well sign up. I have nothing else better to do. And so I signed up. In the beginning, it was a wreck because I was a wreck. I couldn't retain anything. I was too overwhelmed. I kept trying to make excuses and I kept wanting to run and flee. And in the process, I remembered that I ran from everything else. Why not try it out? I got nothing but time. And I have patience for everything else but myself. So maybe this will be the time that I can build the patience to be there for myself. And so next thing you know, session one finishes. And when session one finished, I remember thinking, how I became so bitter and didn't realize it, how I really just felt so unworthy, how no matter how many times people told me I was beautiful, I really felt like I was ugly, how that, you know, I will never amount to anything because that's all I heard my entire life growing up. and or saw my entire life growing up. And so, thinking those things, I remember that I didn't feel the same way I felt a few months prior before I started that class. And so I said, you know what? When round two come, I'm going back in because everything in me kept trying to make excuses and why I should quit. And so session two come around. And in the process of session two, I truly found out that God truly sees me and He knows everything that I'm going through. And that I don't have to sit there for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours telling Him all of my problems, mumbling, complaining about the issues that I have. All He wanted me to do was invite Him in, and He was going to do the rest. And I never realized that until then. And so through Queen Esther's second session, my prayer started to change. I started to change from the inside. And I started realizing that my household started to change. And so oh my goodness, I just couldn't wait to get back into um, session Queen Esther Ministry in the session three, because it was just like, oh my goodness. I mean, it wasn't considered entertainment. It was like literally they telling me about myself. They telling me something about myself I didn't know about myself. And so I was just so eager to learn more about the women in the Bible. However, session three, when we got there, there's a book called Because of Jesus. And in that book, when I opened it up, it was just like power coming from that book. And as I read the lessons and did the lessons and, committed the scriptures to my heart and made sure that I kept going back to read them over and over again and written down some of the passages and hung them around my walls so that I can be able to see them every time that I feel down and in despair and inadequate, or when that feeling of unworthiness wants to come back. I have something to look at, to lean on, and to remember how He sees me. And my entire soul just catapulted into another dimension where now I truly feel as though that my faith in the Lord has saved me from corruption. And I am who God says I am. And there's no weapon on this earth that will ever prosper against me. Does not mean that they won't come, but they just will not defeat me. And so with all that being said, I want to encourage everyone and anyone that hears my voice that from a girl that suffers so hard from abandonment and flip the script from being angry about that abandonment, suppressing that with alcohol and drugs and fighting and arguing, and then turn that into people pleasing that set myself up for some real bad disappointments that later ended up into guilt and shame and resentment and fear and worrying, and I was like 1 foot in the grave. 1 foot in the grave I was, literally 1 foot in the grave. To now I'm just like, I mean it's hard to truly explain it. You have to experience. But with all that being said, motivational speeches, things of that sort, they definitely work, but for a moment. But when you take yourself and you plant yourself in the Word of God and you believe in His promises, all you have to do is ask Him and He will give it to you. And so what I pretty much mean by that is that I realized that I can't be good on my own. I can't. Me trying to be good on my own don't make no sense. It's just like a child in a candy store, and you tell a child, you staying right here, I'm about to go to the restroom, even though we wouldn't do that, but staying right here, I'm about to go to the restroom, and don't you touch no candy in here. And you leave and go to the restroom, and the kid, you come back, the kid shirt all chocolate and whatever. That's just how life is. There's too much temptation out here for us to be able to stand strong on our own. So it's just like, who do we lean on to? And I don't knock anyone that has beliefs in other worldly gods, but at the same time, it's like I can't put my trust into something that can break just like I can. And so, if I remember I had some stones. I can't keep praying to the stones, and man, when I drop a stone and it cracked and broke, you know, the stone flush it down the toilet by accident. Next thing I feel inadequate because I don't have a stone. It's just too much. Even when it comes to the little man with his feet, balled up. I don't know what type is that. What type of religion or what have you. I just know that someone gave it to me in the process of me trying to do some soul searching. And I don't knock it, but I just kept thinking that this can break. So if this can break, what do I need something that can break for? I'm already broken. I don't need something that I can end up breaking. I did that enough with my children. By me turning around and just being an emotional wreck, I end up breaking them. And they're still coming back from that. And so it's just like, when you put your faith in him, I mean, the sky's the limit, and he can do the impossible. And there's nothing on this earth that he cannot do for you. And so with that being said, I had actually came across a scripture just the other day, and I sent it to the queens because I'm supposed to be reading this for our Queen Esther ministry. And I was conflicted between 1 John chapter 2, 9 through 14, something like that. And I said, or should I do John 15, 15 through 17? And I was fighting with it all weekend. And then Pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes had ended up doing a sermon about John 15 verses 9 through 17, and I said, okay, stamp it, that's just what I'm reading. And I have been meditating on this lately, and with meditating on this, I mean, I can feel it. You can feel that thing, when you almost did, you could just feel that. I can feel it. Okay, but it reads as follows, and this is from the New King James Version as well. And it says, no longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all things that I've heard from my Father I have made known to you. Verse 16, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit shall remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you. That goes back to me keep saying, Lord, I want to do right, but I can't. Help please. And every time I do that, I mean, sometimes I get a little crazy when I say it, y'all. And some of y'all that already know me, y'all know how hysterical I can get, or y'all know I'm just like the drama queen. So yeah. So you can imagine how I really said that. And I mean, times when I was down and crying and out and stretched out on the floor, or if it was me like this, like, Lord, please, I'm getting ready to go past this liquor store real quick, and I'm not trying to go in. Can you please make sure that I keep going past this thing, because I can't do this on my own. And next thing you know, I'm driving past it. Okay, so but verse 17 says, these things I command you, that you love one another. And the reason why that one was so powerful for me, because the thing I wanted to do the most was a thing I didn't know how to do. And I wanted to know how to love. I wanted to know how to love my children. I wanted to know how to love my husband 120%. I wanted to know how to love others without looking for them to pour back into me. See, it's one thing when you go out there and you help without the right knowledge, the wisdom, or the guidance, because you're going out there doing it for a reason. And when whatever reason you're doing it for does not come back to you, you feel disappointed, heartbroken, because that person wasn't there for you. Not saying that you were expecting it, but it's just natural for you to think that way. And now for me to sit back and I'm able to not care about what someone has to say or what they're going to do, but I can just freely give without wondering that when a rainy day comes, will somebody be there for me? And if they are not there, I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, but I helped them. I mean, they didn't have to open their mouth. Wah, wah, wah. I got tired of whining because it took so much for me. And even with the sermon that I mentioned about Bishop T.D. Jakes, where he was talking about men pour in, I believe is the name of his sermon, this Father's that had just passed. And I kept thinking, that's what I was doing. I was pouring out of an empty cup. No wonder I didn't have any time and energy for my kids. No wonder I didn't know how or to survive when it comes to mentally and spiritually. I didn't know how to. I would start it and then say forget it because it was too much for me to do with all the other tasks that I had at hand to do. And for the first time in my life, I am in complete peace. And there's nothing nobody can do about it. And I have never appreciated being alone. Don't get me wrong. My girlfriend is ready to do some things and travel and things of that sort, but I have never felt this whole a day in my life. And so the sky's the limit. I say all of that to say that sometimes we have to take time off from everything when possible, because some of us have to truly work and supply needs for our families and things of that sort. But when you can, you just take that time off, completely off, cut yourself off. There's nothing that you're going to miss, because now that I'm back and ready to do what it do, haven't missed a beat, and I realized that everyone that I truly love, there's nothing that I missed when they are in the same situation from where I left. And there's nothing wrong with the situation they are in. That's for them. What's for me is for me, and what's for them is for them. And I haven't outgrown them. I just outgrown the system that we used to hang in, or the system that I felt like I had to be in to feel important or to feel worthy. And so with all that being said, I literally want to encourage everyone in the sound of my voice to just get armored up. Get armored up. Go after the Lord with everything you have, everything that you have, and everything that you don't. Because it was the moment when I became completely honest and said, I hate myself. I did not like you. I did not care for you. You allowed me to go through this. I lost my brother, and after I already suffered all my life, and you are you kidding me? And I said some things probably worse, completely worse than that. But long story short, I literally came back to him and asked for him to strengthen me so that I can do what my God-given task is. And he's still building me, and he's still building me, and he's still building me. But each and every time he is building me, he's breaking something, and then he's blessing me. And so he comes to me, he's building me, he breaks me, and then he blesses me. And I just feel so full right now. And every time I turn around, I'm realizing that my cup is so overfilled. It's just flowing into everyone else that I touch. And so, with that being said, I just want to tell you guys I'm back. You will be seeing more of me. I love you. You guys stay blessed because you are highly favored. And you guys have a magnificent, magical, amazingly blessed morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. I love you all, and I hope to see a lot of you soon.